I love the sound of those keyboards being tickled by Mr. Dustin Griffith, who recorded that for us on the doc.org. Pastor Troy here every Tuesday and Thursday, dropping episodes that we hope will help you get your faith out of these seats. We want you in the seats wherever you are, in your car, your house, where you're watching this. We want you to sit down for a minute. We're going to learn a little bit. We're going to grow in faith in Christ, but we want to get you out of the shallows and out past that lighthouse. See the pretty picture? My daughter drew this. Out of the lighthouse, past that pass, out into the deep, and let Jesus captain your ship and get out there and do the things of God. So we're going to try to strengthen you up today, and we have got a good special show for you today. Go to On the Doc, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. That's where you can find us. Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and Sermonette are other places you can find us. Sermonette's where we keep our archives. YouTube's got archives. Spotify and iTunes does too. You can watch those there, but those are our primary channels. But go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter, and those are our social media channels, and we'd love to have conversation with you about what's going on in the show, what you're hearing about today. If you got questions, follow up there, and we will follow up with you. We promise. Subscribe, hit like, notify, whichever medium you're using. Hit those buttons, make comments, and then do me a favor, share the show. Just grab it, grab the link to it, share it, whether you're watching Facebook or YouTube, preferably Spotify or iTunes. Share that with your family and friends so they can watch it, especially these shows on how to take care of your family and yourself. There's some great things you're going to be learning. Go back and watch part 1 and 2 of this 3-part episode, and we'll get in there and we'll help you out. Patreon, go to Patreon, download the app, and find out how you can be an On the Doc partner or sponsor. 4 levels of partnership. That's for people that just want to be a part of the show and help us develop and grow. We'd love to have you as a part of the team. And there's 3 levels of sponsorship for Christian organizations, businesses, and others. And this whole show series, Taking It to the Street Spotlight with Extreme Exigency, they are not a sponsor for us today. They're a guest today, but we would do a show with you if you've got a great business or Christian stuff. We can do a show like we're doing with them today, or build something for you as well. They've done a good job. They've got some commercials that we've shown. We showed their 141, their longer Facebook one in part 1. In part 2, we showed you the 30-second. We're going to show you another one today. That's going to be great. And we'll maybe show you that 30-second one again, or maybe the long one again. Maybe we'll do that too. But they've got some great stuff. Check out their stuff. It's going to be a great show. Go to our partner, slnt.com, promo code OTD. If you go to slnt.com, just put in OTD at checkout. You get our discounts on these incredible Faraday bags. Here's one right here on the set. My phone is in it, and so Google is not listening. Nobody else is listening. The Chinese aren't listening. Nobody's listening. I can't even get a call now. Even out of airplane mode, you can't get a call through this thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it stops it. It stops everything. So, and it doesn't run your battery. The old phones would run down. They don't anymore. They just go and stand by. So it's a great SLT product. They got lots of products. Your key fobs, your credit cards that put out RFID. They make credit card holders. They make purses.
I think that would be great to have a credit card one, and I would like to have the key fob one.
They do. Let me show. I haven't showed this in a couple episodes. This is my favorite one. Like, they've got backpacks here. Check out these backpacks here, Beth. These are pretty cool. Different things you put your bag in.
Because we've seen people in a restaurant sitting in a McDonald's, skimming off of people's credit cards.
This sling bag is cool. See the sling bag this girl's got in the look? This is their new product. The inside is Faraday for like your notebook, your tablet. The outside is not. And there's a credit card pocket too in it as well. And you can use the key fob one for credit cards. There's a credit card slot on some of these phone sleeves. Some have it, some don't.
Right. Because you used to be afraid of just like the gas stations, like they would put the little things on to swipe.
Yeah.
But now they can just
They get your
sit
stuff.
in McDonald's.
They get your stuff. Aren't you glad, Ray, you're out of police now? Because people are getting more of your stuff than they could ever get your stuff. They can just sit there and get your stuff today.
Yeah. It's a tough time to be in law enforcement.
It is. It is a tough time because people are suspicious of police because of all the political stuff, but then the same people are like mad if police don't show up, and then they want to defund the police, and then they go, "Where's the police?" Well, you defunded the police, ding-a-ling, you know. Good grief. I mean, we run into that so often, Nobody wants police till you need the police. You need the police, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I'm just thankful that we've got guys like you out there that are not just have served, but you're training people to be smart. Go watch our first 2 shows. They are absolutely invaluable. I met them. I met Ray back in 2013 when we were planning the very first concealed carry group workshop in our church. ABC, CBS, NBC. I even got picked up a national Good Morning America, got interviewed by them on it. And a lot of people couldn't believe that a church would be teaching this. So we were, I guess, probably one of the first classes in the state of Illinois, a trendsetter. And then you've done many others since, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been all over.
Many churches.
So we, just in case, break the glass. They could not believe that we had that graphic, but that graphic is it. It's just in case.
Yep.
Extreme exigency is a just in case moment,
Yes,
correct?
it is.
Right.
Will you define that for us one more time? I know you've done it.
Immediate, unavoidable, life-threatening, deadly danger.
You think you're in life, and I want to, this episode, in Taking It to the Streets, we're going to spotlight extreme exigency one more time. And I want to do in this roundtable, we do a lot of roundtables. We'll do a bonus episode. This is a bonus episode. And we're going to talk about the Christian perspective, but we're also going to clean up in the roundtable some questions out there. Illinois is a difficult animal. In general, Illinois would like us not to have a firearm. They've tried to reduce the size of everything about firearms now recently. It's almost a hostile state in some ways, but the courts required them to eventually give us our constitutional rights. So they wrote some pretty good code. That's why it takes a 16-hour class to get through it, I guess. So there's a bit of a hurdle, plus the application process. Your wife, Stacy, Ray Minor's here with us. He's a founder and owner of Extreme Exigency, retired state police. His wife, Stacy's his office manager, also helps with administrative stuff, getting you signed up for the classes. She can help you get your licenses and all that stuff. Makes a very difficult process easy when you do what she says.
Yes.
Which works great. And you can get a hold of them at 618-629-3422, at 629-3422, 618. You got it there. And it's extremeexigency.com. They've also on Facebook. You can email them at extremeexigency@gmail.com. And they're in Benton, out in the boondocks, 9911 River Bend, Benton, Illinois. You can find them. Use your MapQuest. Get out there, and you're going to love the whole place. It's incredible. But my point is they're going to help you get through the process and the hurdles and get the state of Illinois to allow you to be a concealed carry legal
Permit holder, yes.
And they're going to train you. They're going to help you. And even if you've never handled a gun, you could go take their course, get licensed, and while you wait on your license, come back and take their beginner's course. They'll help you get some ideas on what kind of gun you should buy. You don't even need to buy a gun to come there to take this class. Matter of fact, don't bring your gun. Let them handle everything for you. They're going to train you, and then they'll work with you afterwards on how to pick one out for you, for your frame, for your size. If you're a male or female, what works better in your situation. They're going to help you with all that, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and that's smart. Don't go buy a gun. We have one guy that bought a gun here. So I'm going to tell the story real quick. Just names have been changed to protect the innocent. His name is Michael. I did change his name. I did. I mean, I'm not using the short version of that. Oh, I do that sometimes. His name is Michael. And Michael had watched us for 2 different rounds, do extreme exigency training. He watched all our people become security guards. He never took the class. He actually, I want to tell you this. He wasn't law enforcement, but he was, let me just to change the jobs to protect innocent. He was a mall cop.
He was a little security guard
Security
somewhere. Yeah.
Security. My daughter. Security. Okay. So he was security. He decided that he was going to go get a weapon. His security job didn't require a weapon. It required more of a run and call somebody. And it needed to be that because this the concept of this brother. He's a fine, innocent young brother, somewhere between Otis and Barney Fife. And so he comes in one day, Bill Barnett. Bill's gone to be the Lord. How long's Bill been gone now? I feel like Bill's still here. Bill's presence. How long? 3.5 years.
3 years.
He died in
Wow.
COVID time.
Yeah,
and,
I knew he died
miss
during
Bill.
COVID.
Yeah, gosh. He's the head of our security. Love him with all my heart. He led everything, and I'd never felt safer. Our guys take great care of me now, but Bill just has a love for us and special, and we miss Bill. But Bill came to me and said, I'm changing the name to protect innocent Michael. Michael showed up one day. He came to church, and he says, I bought a gun. And Bill says, you did? He says, I've got it in this sack. And Bill said, well, let's step in the coffee shop. Nobody was here yet. And he opened the sack, and he had a Ruger or something like that. And it was in the box, and it hadn't been loaded or anything like that. And he says, I want you to take that back out and lock it in your glove box. You won't need that today. And he says, we'll talk later. So he didn't know how to put it together. He didn't all this stuff. So he said, he came back in and he said, now, I know you're going to go get trained. And he got trained by somebody else and he passed. And he says, well, I want to be on the security team. And Bill said, I'm sorry. Every 2 years, the extreme exigency, you got to go through the training. There's additional training for the church. So I need you to leave that out in your glove box, And I guess he decided he was going to carry it. I guess he decided one day he was going to come in, he was going to keep it and carry it and all that. And Bill talked to him a little bit about it, and Bill just was not really comfortable with nothing, with how he handled it, how he showed him some things. And he says, he walked to me and Bill said, Pastor, it's going to be really bad if he pulls a weapon in the church, even personally. And we can't really, we don't have a gun placard up.
Yeah,
right?
you shouldn't.
No, we don't.
glad,
No,
yeah.
no. And so he has a right to carry a gun in this church because we don't stop anybody.
Yeah.
And he technically had a license, or concealed carry license. And but he wasn't on our security team, but he was to change the job, mall cop, some kind of mall cop, not really a mall cop, but a different kind of security. And it was really scary. And we took him out on one of our training things with you guys, and they were like, no. And so I had a hard conversation with him. I brought him up one day after church. I said, can you come on up here, Bill? Can you stand here? Bill told me I can't do this. And I had another elder come and stand next to me, and I said, Michael, I need to, as your pastor, I'm your pastor, right? Yes. I need to give you an instruction. Here's the deal. I'm going to ask you, I can't ask you not to carry a gun here, but I'm going to ask you never to pull it out of your pocket, never to pull it from your holster, because you're going to cause a distraction. Not only am I going to pull my gun first and shoot you, I'm going to let some predator get a drop on us because I'm going to shoot you before I shoot them, because you're going to kill grandma that sits to your left and that nice lady that sits to your right, because you're dangerous with a weapon. So I'm going to ask you to leave your gun holstered and let our team protect your family.
Yes.
Don't make me shoot you first, because I think you're more dangerous in this church pulling out your weapon
Than somebody else.
than somebody else that knows what they're doing. And I said, do you understand? He says, yes. And then our elder at the time said, now, do you understand what the pastor has told you? I'm to leave my gun in my pocket. Yes. Bill said, and I really think you'd be better off with it in your glove box. After that, he'd come in and say, I left it in my glove box. I do say he did change churches soon after that. I'm not sure if he's at your church or not, but that's your problem. The one thing I really appreciate about you guys is you guys are honest. No matter which of your professionals you work with, they will train you right technique and right process.
Yeah.
But there are people out there that just get a permit that aren't prepared really.
Not mentally or...
It doesn't mean you're safe. There's no mental aptitude test on this thing.
No.
That may be the one thing that bothers me more than anything about what the state of Illinois did with all their stuff. They didn't take a look at, whether you can rationalize this out enough. You've got to be proficient to shoot the thing, but do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, I think that our legislators, that's part of why we have so much... when you think about it, 4 hours of statutory law is a long time.
That's
Yeah.
a long time.
So I think that our legislators wanted our concealed carry instructors to concentrate a lot on the use of a firearm, when it's justified, when it's righteous.
Right.
And again, the use of a firearm, even if it's a righteous, if it's used righteously, it's still going to be a bad day.
It's
for
a bad day.
everybody. I talk about, if grandma has to shoot somebody in their home, 20 years from now, 2 generations from now, the grandkids are still going to be talking about it.
Right.
It's an extreme moment.
Yeah,
it's that extreme action moment.
Yeah. So, again, it comes down to that the conflict avoids 100% of the time the one we win. We need to do everything we can for conflict avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
And that your Predators playbook helps people avoid that, but also in the class you're talking about everything else. And that leads us a couple of the other questions we wanted to get to before we get a little bit more into some of the Christian perspective. When you do our training, you have done both. Not only have you trained people for firearm concealed carry, but you've also given people perspective on using a stun gun, which in the state of Illinois, you would also need a FOID card.
You have to have a FOID card.
A gun card for
a
electrocution.
stun gun or a taser.
Or
Either
taser,
one. Yeah,
either one of those.
You can own either one legally in the state.
And we have people that did both of those. You offered those, and a lot of our people got those as a choice because they're close personal and it's a little easier to use. Mm-hmm. Some people don't feel good about the other discharging a weapon, so it's very effective. But in addition to stun gun, the stun gun is a lot of people don't think it's... Now, what's funny is TV shows a stun gun is always knocking somebody out.
Yes.
Always on a stun gun on TV, you're knocked out, you wake up in another neighborhood. You're like BA, you wake up and you've been flown someplace. I've noticed that a stun gun doesn't really knock people out.
It does not.
It's a TV thing.
Yeah, it's a pain compliance tool.
But on TV though, you know what I mean? Stun guns always knocking people out.
Yeah.
They're zapping people.
Yeah.
And then they're mugging them and taking them someplace. Yeah. So, but this is more.
Or the police or somebody are doing it, and then the whole situation gets taken care of while they're unconscious.
But what I've learned with the stun gun is it buys you time to separate or get away or exit the situation while they recover. And I've learned a stun gun, I mean, like I said, on TV, it always seems to knock them out. They're rendered unconscious. That's not the case. They're rendered more compliant for you to exit.
Yeah, it is a pain compliance tool completely.
Which won't do permanent harm, most likely.
No, and the disadvantage of the stun gun is just that. It's a pain compliance tool. So once the pain goes away, compliance goes away.
Right.
You know, so that's why I tell everybody that, you know, pepper spray to me is a much more effective personal defense
lasts.
item.
And I'm going to,
And it is by far the most underestimated
of everything
of self-defense tools out there. People don't give it the credit, the justice it deserves.
Well, they think now bear spray is different because we get family that spent time in Alaska, and they actually said the bear spray is better option than most guns with a bear because they really run from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it irritates the bear.
And if you miss the bear at the gun, or your gun's not of a high enough caliber, you can really make a bear mad. Yeah. So you're better off irritating it and leaving. So I don't think people understand how a stun gun works. And so I'm going to run a video. It's low volume video, so he's going to do the best he can. And I want you to leave Ray's mic hot and my mic hot, so it would allow maybe some comment. I just want you to notice when you run this video of Ray showing you the effects of a stun gun, you've got a partner on here from your early days. What's his name?
Mike Miller.
Mike Miller. So you guys working together, and I didn't catch this till I was prepping for this show because I've watched this back in the day, and I didn't realize how much. Did Mike have a law enforcement background?
He did.
Yeah. There's too much of a pleasure on his face prior to stunning you. He got too much enjoyment out of this for an extreme exigency moment. Good thing it's a training area.
Yeah, and it was a unique. What was happening was there was a team of female attorneys that had came to us and asked me to do a stun gun. And Mike was committed to it. Byron was committed to it.
Well, yeah, he was stunning you.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, I didn't want to do it. I was trying to avoid it. I felt like pepper spray was a more effective defense tool for them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the stun gun and
because you have to come into contact.
Yeah, but it's a pain compliance tool, and at the same time, I didn't want to teach any. Because what was going to be is we was going to provide them with the training, and as part of the training, they got a stun gun.
Right.
And I just could not do that without having some sort of awareness of how effective or ineffective they were.
Right.
And every one of us on the team sort of said, well, I'm not going to let anybody stun me. I'm not going to do it. And it really came down to they were going to do the training without somebody being stunned, and I absolutely refused to train.
Yeah, because on TV it knocks them out. It's not really completely
false sense of what it,
so I
you can shake it off.
Yeah, I had to know what just exactly how effective it was, and yeah, Mike got a big kick out of it.
Yeah, he
like
enjoyed himself.
And I shared with you that this was actually take two because we actually tried to do it the night. This was done live at the state fair.
Oh,
several
God.
years ago, and the night before we did it, but we couldn't because between them laughing and it was not a PG-13 experience.
No, I understand.
So
I understand.
So the next day we had to film it again, which and he already knew from the night before how it.
Did you use a stunt double on the first one, or was
it was me at the first?
You're the victim both times.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one of the first times you talked to us about the stun guns, and you said whatever you do, if you get one, do not hand it to your college-age son and let him take it because they will
your
use
kids
it.
will start stunning each other.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they'll be stunning your dogs. All right, check this out. You feel free to make comment, but please note the stunner's facial remarks prior to.
Yeah, the problem I have with it, I try not to watch it because I get a pain in my side. and I know it's but I find myself touching my side.
All right, crank it up. You have to crank it.
Oh gosh.
What we're going to do tonight is we're going to
look at his face.
Yeah, Mike is taking way too
look
much.
Look at his eyes.
Yeah, his eyes starts watering in a minute.
What we're we're going to do is I'm going to.
But this is a brand new stun gun coming right out of the box.
Yeah, right.
It's not even been charged.
Oh, look. Listen to it.
And using the stun gun to defend himself.
Yeah, his eyes are watering. He thinks
ward me off as the attacker. Okay, now, for the purpose of this demonstration, Mike's not going to stun me anywhere around the neck.
Because I didn't know where he was going to stun me. I knew where I didn't want him to stun me.
Yeah, you gave a couple rules.
Ways to or target areas if you're stunning an attacker. Okay? Ready?
Well, that's some clearance.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have came back if it wasn't for the video.
You want some more? You want some more?
That concludes our demonstration.
Oh, that's awful.
Well, but that's a good example though. You walked when you're training to shoot CCW, it's about 20, 21 feet, something like that.
Yeah, it's actually 5, 7, and 10 yards.
Okay,
so 30 feet.
Yeah, so beyond that, they're not really a threat to you yet. So you're trained in. What's interesting is you were on him, but you walked away that distance.
Yes,
which should be the distance you could probably either retreat or at least start to move.
And that's the goal of the stun gun or the taser is to get.
You had to walk off or give him you had the time, and I guess he could have got if he had left, he could have got a lot farther.
He could have, and if he had ran.
But you weren't knocked out.
No, was not knocked out.
Did you survive? You still have a little mental twitch?
Yeah, I do. I still have. Like I said, I find myself touching my side after I watch the video and stuff. So it gives you a little. It gives you a whelp about like a wasp sting or something.
Oh, it gives you a little bit, little something.
Yeah, especially through that T-shirt.
Did you in your days in state police? Did you carry a taser? Or
we did have tasers.
You did.
Yes.
Did you have the ones that like hook into people?
Yes. The difference between a taser and a stun gun is a taser shoots the barbs.
Right.
But you have to understand the limitations. Tasers and stun guns are phenomenal tools for law enforcement because for law enforcement you do want compliance, and that's where they work. As long as you provide the pain, you get compliance. The limitation is that you either have to dry stun, which is what a stun gun does. All tasers will dry stun, or you have to shoot and deploy the barbs.
Right.
And if one barb hits and one barb misses, it's useless.
Right. You don't have a connection.
Yeah, there has to be the current.
Yeah.
Or if the person deflects one of them or something, or one of them falls out. So there is limitations to them. I think they're an amazing tool for law enforcement. And I think they are I joke about my dad. When he golfs, he has a golf club for everything, and a lot of times he doesn't have play with every club but there's going to be a time that'll come where that certain club is the right club for that moment.
Now,
that's what your taser or your stun gun, pepper spray, having a flashlight, having a firearm with you. Those are all tools that's going to aid you.
Now, something they taught was the flashlight. Beth knows this. I'm giving away a secret here, but where we have, whether we are we keep firearms where we need them in our house, where they need to be.
Yes.
Entrances, doors, where they need to be. They're hidden or whatever. Every firearm has a flashlight next to it.
Yes.
Every one of our firearms has a flashlight. Like I went out and bought boxes of flashlights.
Yeah, flashlight. I mean, when you think about the price of you can get a quality LED flashlight for $10.
Right.
Right. It runs on one AA battery.
And a couple of my longer guns that I have in the house on racks have it built on.
Yeah.
So they have it built on now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I never thought about that. Now I have a story. Can I tell a story about that before we get to the next one? So we live here at the house one night, middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the night, been raining. It was terrible out. It was cold. There was huge pop outside from our house. I looked out the window and there was somebody walking through our backyard, and it was just crazy. I said, "Bet somebody's out in the yard." We have a young lady that lived with us that was an intern. She said, "There's somebody at the back of the house. I think they're beating on something back there. They're screaming and stuff. I don't know." She texted us. We'd heard it. We were up. I said, "I'm up." All I had was my shorts, and I put some flip-flops on, and I grabbed my flashlight and my weapon, and I stepped to the door. I didn't see anybody. I stepped out and said, "Is there anybody out here?" I kind of walked around. I didn't see anybody. I kind of cleared out. I thought, well, they're just seeing stuff. And then I hear the bang, 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 bang. And I hear somebody say, well, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to do this. And what it was there were two guys out that had a fight coming from the bar over there about 1 o'clock in the morning. And they had thrown one out of the car. And they were now screaming at their partner, who was two guys. And all he says, I don't care. And I don't care if you're in the Marines. I'm like, great, this is a Marine. I'm in trouble. And I hear bang, bang, bang. And what it was the guy was over right across the street on the place banging on their metal siding. He was just doing stuff. And so I get out there and I finally see the one guy come out from the tree line, and he starts to walk over to me, and he's got his hands down and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there, I got my gun down in my pocket, and I've got my flashlight on him. And he says, can I come and talk to you? And all I worked on says, you stand right there. She'd already called 911. And I had licorice in my mouth. Somehow I picked up a piece of licorice. I don't know why I picked it. I was hungry. I picked up a piece of licorice. I don't even walk around. I'd stepped in mud already. And so I said, you stay right there. I can't see you. He said, I just want to talk to somebody. I said, am I your, and these are my words. He said he had already come out, and I had her call 911. She was like a daughter to us. She is like a daughter to us. And I said, am I your pastor? I couldn't see him well enough. He said, no, you're not. I'm not your pastor. You're not my pastor. I said, then you stay right where you are. Don't move. I have a weapon. And if you make one more step, I can't see anything you got. What is this bang, bang, bang? Well, that's a Marine. He could kill us both. I said, don't make one step toward me. I do not want to have to hurt you. I am going to put you down if you make one step toward me. And he stayed right there. The cops come in. They end up arresting them both. They were just had a dynamic fight and all this. But it was a moment where I never lifted my weapon, because you taught me if you lift your weapon to point at him, you're going to kill him. Yeah. And
better be ready to use it.
Yeah, I was taught in your class that to hold somebody hostage with your weapon is not what we do as regular people.
Well, and I've got to say, there have been a number of times that Troy has been approached by people in cities, like just in Seattle last week.
In Seattle.
We had just parked our car, we were coming back to it. And this guy comes walking right up behind Troy. I mean, right behind him. And he was clipping and said something about, is this your car parked here, or something like that? And
it was raining hard.
The first thing Troy said was, step back away from me right now. You take 3 steps back from me right now.
Mm-hmm. He said, well, I'm security. I said, I don't care if you're Santa Claus. You take 3 steps back. I'm fixing to drop you.
And the guy did.
Don't make me hurt you.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Don't make me. He took 3 steps back. So, well, I'm secure. I don't care who you are. My car's registered by tag. You don't need to be up in my face. If you need to look at something, let me step away. My wife's over here. He walked away. We found out he was just con job. He just walked around the parking lot. He'd put on a yellow jacket on because it was raining, and he could look official and creep up on people. So that your stuff is just changed how we let people handle us. Had the same thing happen in Nashville. The same thing happen in Nashville.
Yeah, we did. Same thing happened in Nashville. And that night, the next night after that happened to him, I had gone back to the store to get something. I came out. I noticed the guy sitting, leaning against a car. And when I came out the door, he stood up, had his eye on me. Uh-huh. And all I could think was, I remembered, just walk with purpose, and I knew where I was going. I was just crossing the street.
This is right by Pike's Place, right there in Seattle. It's a target spot.
And he sat back down, and
it's amazing what we've learned. Now, tell me about this pepper spray. When you guys trained our people, one of the things you said to those that whether they're carrying firearms or not carrying firearms, we have non-firearm people on our team by far, and what we do, we encourage them to carry pepper spray, and actually all of our lead people carry pepper spray, because your guys have said that may be a much better and safer choice, and given the person may not be presenting a firearm or presenting a lethal weapon, but they may be a threat to other people, this is a different way to subdue somebody. Mm-hmm. And they've trained our guys on how to do that. Yes. What tell me the story about that.
Well, pepper spray is it became something that law enforcement pretty much used to replace the old CNCS tear gas that they had in canisters. And it's a natural product, so it doesn't ever hurt anybody for long term. Mm-hmm.
Just for a moment, you think you're going to die,
but
your eyes are burning.
Your eyes are burning, and it is absolutely the most underrated self defense product out there. It is so effective. Even if somebody is on bath salts or they can't feel anything and they're immune to the heat or the pain.
And we've seen that. We have seen that.
I'm glad you said that,
Yeah.
because
I mean,
I know that sometimes with the taser that they
that-
can work right through that,
They
right?
can, and the same way with, there is a certain that's involuntary as far as the constriction, the nerves, what the taser does or a stun gun. But the same way with the pepper spray, it causes an involuntary constriction of the eyes.
And they just cannot see.
They cannot see.
It doesn't
So-
matter if they're high or they can't feel pain.
So they're
may still crying.
Yeah, they may not be able to feel any pain, but they cannot see you, and of course that's
Okay.
advantageous
For you to pull away and get away
yeah,
from the situation.
Yeah, and it is so effective.
Now you may missed everybody else, but if they taught us when we did it that you don't just spray it at them like you do raid to the wasp, but a figure eight.
Figure eight, or Father, Son. I mean, you can do that too.
Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell them. I said, let them know that where
Cover the area.
Yeah, and if they have glasses, hit them above the forehead.
What's required?
so
What's
it drip
required
down.
for pepper spray in the state of Illinois?
Oh, and I have mine here. I got
Yeah.
it.
Yes, very
good.
Hey, show Mother Beth there.
Yeah.
All of my daughters, I have one.
Yeah.
I buy them two of these
it's
every year so they can
small.
have them in their purse, on their keychain, and ready to
Yeah,
go.
it's got a little ring you can put on your keychain.
Oh, you've got yours too.
I think everybody should carry pepper spray.
I do too.
Yeah.
Our youngest daughter carries it everywhere.
What's the age now? 21 for concealed carry permit and weapon in the state of Illinois. What's the age for this?
And you have to have a FOID card to have a stun gun or
Stun gun.
taser.
So they're the same.
Yeah. So
That's kind of strange for me that's actually as effective or maybe more effective than that stun gun. But there's big age difference.
there is an age limit even on the pepper spray of 18. Now, I
18.
tell everybody that, if your daughter is 15 or 16, it's a maturity thing. I mean,
Right.
I want my girls had it.
I would err on this one,
Yeah.
gentlemen, and just deal with it. But I would make sure that if she's dating some guy that's an idiot that would want to play with it, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, and
but if
that's-
she's responsible,
Yeah, that's what I said. If your daughter is one of those that if your boyfriend looks at somebody else's rear end
And then
he's
gonna spray her.
hose him down.
yeah, probably not.
She probably shouldn't have it.
Right.
But for the most part, if they're mature enough and they understand that pepper spray is for their self protection, and my girls had it even much younger than 15 or 16.
Oh, yeah.
They literally they couldn't have a firearm, so they had home units of pepper spray in their bedrooms.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And-
they wake up, somebody's in their bedroom trying to.
Yeah. So you can, and then there's all that controversy. Well, how about wasp spray? Well, wasp spray is not designed to do what pepper spray does. No. And is it better than nothing? Yeah, but your personal protection is worth spending the extra money.
Yeah.
And there's so many resources for this you can get.
Yeah.
Everybody has it. Everybody carries it. Whether you can find good stuff on Amazon. Make sure to do some research. Though.
Yeah, I tell everybody I'm a big fan of POM. That's POM. I'm also a big fan of Sabre, which is what she's carrying.
What she's carrying.
And
how often would you replace them?
Well, they'll last a lot longer than they say. They say replace them every 5 years, but I mean,
Do you season your food with them ever?
I do not. I do like cayenne pepper, but that's what it is. It's cayenne pepper under pressure.
Cole was thinking about seasoning
okay.
his food with it afterwards. We were going to get some Chinese
yeah.
or something,
Yeah, see, and the new versions, the newer stuff, the very beginning, you couldn't season your food with it, or you couldn't. And don't even go out there and say,
Just
said,
playing
put it
with
on your
it.
food. But it is a water-based projectile now. It used to be an oil-based. And the oil-based made it that much more hotter because oil and water doesn't mix. So when you tried to rinse it off, the decontamination was hard.
Oh yeah.
So,
I bet.
so they changed probably 20 years ago. They changed.
Do you guys sell any of these today at all?
We carry both Palm and Sabre.
So you could come out to your
Yeah,
place,
we're currently out of the Palm,
but you could get it ordered for
yeah,
them.
we are ordering it now. It's just the Christmas season. It's amazing how many things of pepper.
What a
spray.
great gift to give
That's
your
what
family.
we do.
We buy it, and we buy
every
them
couple of
every 2 years.
we-
We just buy them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
I buy them in bulk. Get them a package of them. Bulk.
Yeah,
Bulk flashlights. Bulk this.
Yeah. I tell everybody it is something that would keep you from having to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't be in a position where
Somebody comes into your car window, you just give them a good spray.
You only have, verbal commands to a firearm or hands-on where you got to punch somebody or hit them with it or that pepper spray is right there.
But
Yeah.
and for somebody, male or female, but I'm going to talk about somebody that's lighter, maybe female, lighter, weaker, a little bit weaker. It's a neutralizer to somebody that's bigger because you can be a giant, but if you can't see,
Well, and I tell people, men, quit, stop that ego stuff and put that away, because what happens is guys say, that's sissy stuff, pepper spray. But the truth is, if I have to hit somebody, I had an altercation station I did in Colorado Springs. If I have to hit somebody or punch them or take them down to the ground, there's a great probability I'm going to break my hand. I'm going to knock teeth out. I might break a jaw.
It's not like TV.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to be hurt. That person's going to be hurt. Where if I pepper spray them, they're going to hurt right now, but they're not hurt. So they won't have to have anything in a cast. They won't have lost any teeth.
And they'll leave you alone.
And they'll leave you alone. What is the use? I mean, in a firearm in the state of Illinois is tough. You have to believe in Illinois, either the person you're with or somebody in your direct vicinity, or your life's directly at a moment of death.
Yeah, immediate, unavoidable, life-threatening, deadly.
So I know that you've built that in me very, very well through all the classes, all the years. That's why I never lifted my gun when that guy was in my yard. I knew that it wasn't. But if he had, I couldn't see his hands. I thought there was gunshots going off. I was hitting that building. I couldn't see his arms. I said, "Don't move forward." It was dark at night. It was raining. And I said, please don't come any forward, because you're going to create a moment for me that I don't know what to do other than shoot you.
Yeah.
But I wasn't at that, so I didn't lift my gun. And so if you're using pepper spray, is there a threshold there?
Well, pepper spray, because again, it's a natural product. The right to self-defense is, you can use what force is necessary to stop somebody's imminent use of force against you, unlawful imminent.
So a guy's coming up, woman's parking her car. He's like, that guy creeped up on me. Yeah. The guy was taller than me, but skinnier than me. I was about ready to knock him out. He was real close to getting knocked out because I was traveling. I didn't have my weapon. I was a little tense, but I did tell him back away. He was compliant, so I eased up really quick. But had he not, somebody like Beth, she would have been better off just spraying him.
Yeah, and actually, even you would have been better off spraying him than punching him.
Yes, because I'm just going to hurt myself
ruin
my trip.
If you are going to be justified in using the force that would take to hit somebody, to subdue them, to take them to the ground,
the pepper spray would be a good. That's a fair line.
Yes, and that would be a good way to look at it.
Right.
If
I didn't want to cause him permanent bodily harm or myself, and this is a temporary.
Yeah, it is a temporary pain. It's going to be painful. And they're going to have to decontaminate him, and you're going to. Depending on the circumstances, you're going to, probably call law enforcement, and law enforcement's going to get.
And they got to look at this. And let me get into this, and we'll get in the Christian perspective, and we'll wrap this series up. But in the state of Illinois, just give us some advice. You're a state police officer. Somebody's felt like their life's threatened. They were going to die, or their wife's going to die, or they're in a restaurant, somebody's going to die, and they pull their weapon and they discharge it, and they put somebody down that meant harm to those in the room. What is your advice as law enforcement for that? What should their next actions be?
Well, hopefully they've got their wife or somebody's called 911.
Okay.
And then that person needs to let law enforcement know that there is
somebody's been shot.
Yeah, and that not only that, there's somebody there with a firearm that is, a good guy.
A good guy.
So, my husband had to use a firearm, or he's used it, he's armed. That way, you don't become somebody that gets.
They show up and not sure who's going what.
That you don't get killed by friendly
fire. The time I was here and had when I was on with the 911 and we were watching some of I heard them immediately notify the officers that the pastor's got a weapon and he is watching somebody. And so they were never threatened because they were notified.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that takes place.
And I heard her on the dispatch while I'm talking, notifying the officers simultaneously.
So, so that would be another thing is just as in law enforcement, if I'm involved in a shooting situation as an active law enforcement officer, I'm actually allowed at time to settle down before I have to start making legal statements and stuff like that. You don't want to tell somebody under a moment of stress because you're going to be in shock.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah,
it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, even if it's a justifiable shooting.
Right.
So,
what would you recommend? How would you purport if somebody, God forbid, whether you've had to whatever, what are your first?
My recommendation is not to share information with the law enforcement.
I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, whether if you're a USCCA member, or one legal defense.
And I was going to ask you about the NRA. You've got the USCCA, the insurance.
Yeah.
I get that.
Those all have legal.
Do you recommend those things?
Well, I'm a USCCA member. Almost everybody.
And they would come in and help you.
Defend. They're going to have legal defense that's going to come in and take as part of your membership.
Now we're fortunate in Williamson County. We've got people that have respective constitutional properties. But there's other places in the state where to protect your life, you could be completely under scrutiny that could be scary to you at the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just use the weapon. You don't know what the state's attorney or what political persuasion or this kind of stuff. You see, they're going to get the attorneys in there and the people in to protect you.
Yeah. And
what is the USCCA?
It's the United States Concealed Carry Association.
Okay.
So,
and it provides coverage and stuff for you.
And and that's just, there are other agencies. That's the one that we recommend, that we use. But the thing is you don't want to start saying things and then later say, hey, that's not exactly how it happened.
Right.
But if there's anything to be said, it's going to have to be to use that moment. It's got to be an extreme.
And you used force to save your life,
to save my life, my wife's life, or the person.
Yeah.
It had to be. Yeah. I had no choice at this moment in my mind.
Yeah, and I tell people, don't say I used enough force to stop the. I used force to save my life.
To save my life.
Save my life. That's what.
Right.
That's right.
And we learned the hard way about people saying things like, our son was in a car accident, a really bad head-on collision. And he made the officer that got there asked him if he had crossed the line. And he made the statement, I don't know, maybe. Yeah. But he
had hit his head so hard.
The airbag had gone off. He was in shock. He had a broken foot. He was, He
said, I don't think so, but I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
I don't know where I am.
And our insurance the other guy's insurance company was able to use that against him.
And that's what would happen in the shooting situation.
Right.
So you got to be real careful.
Yeah,
so you're better off to use your right to remain silent.
Yes, and not. You could say. You could make that statement. Hey, I had no choice.
My life was a threat.
My life was in danger.
But you would not be chatty beyond that.
I would not.
That would be the last thing you would say, and say, I need to talk to somebody and get medical attention or counseling.
Yeah, and expect that. There's going to be a chance that you could be arrested,
and there'll be a review.
Yeah,
right.
But the decision point you're making, don't worry about the rest part. It better be because you thought your life could end, or somebody else's life.
It had to be a moment.
And then the Bible says there is no greater love than to lay down your life for a friend. So you need to know it needs to be a point in time that you're willing to do that because of what's at stake. Yes. That defines the moment of extreme exigency.
Yes.
If it's not that moment, you shouldn't have produced.
You shouldn't have used it. You shouldn't have drawn.
Or used your pepper spray.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I think that's good to hear. Now, let's do the Christian perspective before we kind of wrap up here. You're a God-fearing man. Your wife's God-fearing. Your team's God-fearing, and I know them well. You can't think of better people to do this with. People think as a Christian we should, turn the other cheek. Let them shoot us in the other hip, let them take your stuff. And maybe I let them take my stuff. Here's my stuff that can be replaced, but what can't be replaced? My wife, my children, my kids. There's a line you're going to cross when Popeye the Sailor Man says, I can't stand this anymore. This isn't happening. Tell me the Christian perspective. How do you see that as somebody that trains people to do this?
Well, there's absolutely nothing in my wallet worth dying for.
Right.
And I tell people that there's nothing in my home worth dying for. There's also nothing in my wallet or my home worth me killing somebody for.
Right.
So it absolutely has to be.
You need to get out of here now. You're in my house. Yeah. You don't need to chase them down the sidewalk.
No, absolutely. We don't ever chase anybody. You never leave a secure position.
Now, to be fair, I love my favorite movie is the movie Taken. I'm coming after you. I do a few things. I do them well. I'm coming to get you. But that's TV. That's
again, it comes back to, remember one of the past episodes we talked about what's our mission.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Our mission is to protect our loved ones and our family.
Right.
And it would make no sense for me to, in this room, I have control of this room.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have control of what's outside that room.
Right.
So if somebody flees and they leave, why leave a position of safety that's secure that I already know?
Right. Call 911.
Call 911. Outsource your violence.
I love that. Yeah. Outsource your violence.
Let the guys come that are sworn to protect. That's their job, and
they don't mind filling out that paperwork.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they get paid
and you won't
for.
have to get an attorney at $250 to $300 an hour retainer. So outsource your heavy work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Why do it? Whenever.
And with everybody having a cell phone largely today, it's easy to call 911. They're on the phone almost instantly. Yeah. I have to tell you though, this is funny. This is not funny at all. We're in Kansas City, and we were there for a while, and we there was a woman that was extremely out of her mind. She'd crossed out into the street walking. She was walking barefooted in her socks. You could tell she was distraught. My first thought was,
but you could tell she was not a druggie or a homeless person.
She was a little more kept.
She was nice.
But your first thought was, we were in an area where we'd already seen a lot of crackheads, a lot of druggies. She's out she about walked in front of a semi. So we pull our van in a position where nobody can hit her, but we're fixing to go over a railroad trestle bridge. We're basically, everybody can run in the back of us. So I already decided, honey, we're probably going to get hit in the rear here. We'll put our hazards on. We backed up. We were on the phone with 911. 911, can you please hold? We got that 3 times in Kansas City. They were having some overwhelming things going on. It was a bad deal. I called back. I said, I've been put on hold. She's walking over the bridge. She's erratic and all this stuff. And finally we get to the other side of the bridge, and she kind of turned in a little bit, and we took the vehicle and boxed her in. Beth jumped out of the van. We opened the side door and said, ma'am, are you okay? And she just
said no.
She said, no, I'm not. She was like a zombie. And we said, ma'am, we're not going to take you hostage or anything, but would you sit down in the seat of our van? So we slide over. She sits down there and sits. And I'm on the phone with 911 saying, we've got somebody here that's got a problem. I was pretty sure at that point in time that she was having a diabetic emergency.
Yeah, and she was.
She was. And I asked her some things. So I finally got them on the phone, and about 10 minutes later, they didn't even send the police.
A
long time. They finally got a paramedic. I switched and said, I don't think I need police. What I need is a paramedic. And we got the paramedics faster than the police. And they got him and got her, gave her some stuff, shoved her in the vehicle. I don't even think they said thank you to us. They walked her over and stuck her in. And I was just thinking about if I told you the number of people that honked and gave us the finger that we're number one, not that finger, the number of people that honked at us, so we protected this woman going over the bridge. The number of people that honked at us and fingered us and hollered at us in that 10 minutes that she stumbled over there, it was unreal. How incompassionate people are. And finally, Colt's in the room. He's our engineer over here today. Colt drives a massive truck, big truck. There was some saint that finally, we were scared, Colt, and because I told Beth, we're probably going to get hit in the rear by some big truck. We're in an industrial area, big truck like that. Finally, some dude in a truck about your size knew what we were doing, and he pulled in behind, got a little farther behind, eased out a little farther, put his hazards on like with ours.
Right.
And all of a sudden I thought, we've at least got one big massive truck that's going to take the hit first.
Yeah.
And he went with us over, and then when we got over, I said, we got it, and he went off. And there was some other civilian that eventually kind of helped us. But we never got a hold of law enforcement. And it was just crazy.
Yeah.
We are there to help other people. People should be mindful of that. And it's never always what you think it is.
That's true.
Or it's not always what you
It's not always what you think it is. And I just think about how many people drove past that woman, and she could have been any of their family, any of their friends having an extreme medical moment. And I was sad for so many people to pass by and feel inconvenienced. We are in a trouble in our society right now.
Well, and even like you made the point of people flipping you off.
Oh yeah.
Car road rage is something everybody should just avoid.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of times is people flip people off back. If somebody is having one of those days and they get involved, they try to draw. Don't let them draw you in.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I had a guy several months ago, was road raged. I guess I don't know what I did to him, but I saw him waving a pistol at me from his car.
Yes,
in my rearview mirror.
Yeah, it's not worth that. Just get away from him.
I mean,
Again,
and we did. We
Yeah.
did. And I thought, well, you don't want to box me up. I've got guns everywhere in this car, and I'm trained. But I thought that poor person is so upset about their driving. They could lose the right to ever have that firearm. I got off the road and called somebody, and I don't know if they ever caught him or not. But there's a lot of craziness out there. So biblically, we have a response. We are our brother's keeper.
Yes.
We really are. We need to watch out for other people, but we also need to start with ourselves.
We have to protect ourselves.
So you start with ground zero, but people think we should walk away. Jesus actually asked his own disciples to have a sword. That the Bible actually calls for self-defense. It actually if a thief is in your house and it's in the night and you can't see and they were going to attack you, you can defend yourself. But it also says if you know who they are or it's daylight and they can just take the stuff and leave, you should let them leave.
Yes, exactly.
So even the Bible defines just taking the stuff, let them go, from the possibility of you having an extreme exigent moment.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting that the Bible...
the Lord is very clear.
In Exodus, it talks about
Exodus, that the thief found breaking in, if he is struck that he dies, there shall be no guilt on his bloodshed. But if the sun rises on him,
you can see his hand, you can see what he's doing. Yeah. It's just taking stuff, let him go.
Yeah, I use in my class the example of your flashlight. If your flashlight's working and you shine the flashlight on him and you can see it's just a kid, you know.
Right.
And then on the other hand, if your flashlight goes out and you don't have a flashlight, you don't know if it's a kid in there or if it's a, somebody,
Right.
the serial rapist or the axe murderer.
And that changes everything. And that's why you need to be more prepared.
And that's what the Lord's saying. You
Yeah.
know, if the son is the minute and the truth is we can say whatever we want to justify 12 people are going to have to decide that it was a moment of extreme exigency.
Right.
Right.
What would they do if
Yeah.
they were in your shoes?
And they're going to have to decide it was reasonable, knowing your history, your background, your rolling resume, like I like to call it. But the thing is even if the jury agrees with us, we're going to one day face a maker that knows exactly what was going through our mind and exactly what we was thinking.
And the Bible says it's a life for a life. So it would have to be a life-threatening moment.
Absolutely.
And that's
Unavoidable,
the line.
life-threatening, deadly
And that's the
danger.
line.
Yeah. So it's very, very clear.
We're not called to walk away, but we are called to be intelligent and smart about
Absolutely,
the decisions.
yes.
And if it's just your stuff, it's just your stuff.
It's just your
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away.
Everything we have is a
But if it's going to be the life of your family, your kids, then the Bible's got clear prerogative. And Jesus instructed the disciples to even sell stuff to get a sword as they went out for self-defense.
Yes.
So the concept. Now, I know we can get into military and all that stuff. There's a whole different world about that. There's different rules
Well,
there.
in the military, back to that mission, the military has a different mission than we have.
They do.
Their mission is to go forth, conquer, take ground, take their stuff.
Right.
Right.
And defend our borders. I mean,
And then you have to decide if that's a just war or not. There's rules on. There's things in the Bible about just war or not just war.
our mission is to protect our loved ones, our family, be productive members of society, do the right thing.
Yeah.
Treat people with the fruits of the Spirit.
And law enforcement also has other mandates that are greater than ours. And so they'll use different levels of force and decision and training, and they have different mandates and rules.
But even with law enforcement, it's immediate, unavoidable, life-threatening, deadly danger. We saw that in the recent court cases.
Yes.
and
Right.
everything. I mean, people can say what they want, but about those court cases, but if you step back and look at it, it's hard to look at those and think that any of those officers was an immediate, unavoidable, life-threatening, deadly danger.
And so you're saying
Yeah.
that you have a list of tools, and you need to be able to scroll through those tools and know what's appropriate to use at the time.
Absolutely.
Appropriate force, appropriate, and that's true for us as well. The appropriate force may be to walk away, to not be in the position to be smart, or to wait on help, but to be careful of that. And that seems to be what gets a lot of this in trouble. Yeah. And it's tough because when you're in that extreme moment.
I had an incident that happened at a Casey's one time, and that's exactly what happened. The guy was a little mouthy, thought I stepped in front of him, and I just, that's fine, step on up there. And then after the guy walked out, the guy said, "You're the extreme exigency guy, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, that guy didn't know who he was messing with."
Wrong guy, wrong guy.
But I just thought, you know what, it's not worth getting into an argument that might escalate into a shooting situation
Right.
over a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
We were going. I'll wrap up this episode with you have taught me to be so much more aware of my situation and circumstances than you can ever imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And the loss of your son has changed my life. So I want you to know that.
Thank you.
We will reconnect with him. I will thank him for his sacrifice later. I will do that.
I will see him again one day.
Yeah.
Again, he's with the one person that loves him more than we do.
We lost a unborn grandchild recently, and gosh, I can't wait. I went through a miscarriage, and I can't wait. I already got him a Steelers towel with his name on it. I'm looking forward to watching our first Steelers game together up there. But I was with my granddaughter, my other granddaughter, a few years ago, and she was a little bit younger, and she grew up with a police father. So we pulled in one night, rainy. It was in Hucks here in Marion on Old 13. Beth said, "I need cat food." It's 11:30 at night. We pulled in, so she went in to get cat food, and we pulled in to the right of the door a little bit down. We're just sitting there talking, me and my granddaughter talking, and I see a guy come creeping up. He's crabbing down the side of the building with a hoodie on, and I see him about before he's ready to go in the door, and he's just greasy looking, rough looking. And I thought, oh my God, what's this guy doing? I mean, he's weird. He's crabbing down, and I'm thinking maybe he's trying to avoid the camera. And I thought, and he's getting ready to go in, and he's getting ready to go in the door. And I looked at my granddaughter. I said, I was taking out my weapon already. She had gone in, and I looked in, and she'd gone into the bathroom. And I thought, he's fixing to hold this store up. And I looked at my granddaughter. I said, "Grandpa's fixing to open the door and step out. And if you hear a shot, I don't want you to move or be scared. Don't do anything. But I'm afraid for Grandma." And so I got out. I started to open the door. She started to come out of the bathroom. The one person in the store, it's 11:30 at night. The guy turned and looked right at me, eyeball to eyeball. And he began to crab right back down. He crabbed right back down.
Where he came from.
And so she came out and said, "You don't have no clue how close I came to get ready to come out. And I thought this guy's fixing to hold you guys up and you're going to be trapped in there." And so we pull out and the guy's paralleling us when I'm getting ready to call 911. And he's walking faster and faster. And we're going out there's a little road there that goes out to the interstate road. And we turn and it's raining. And he's walking in the grass toward the interstate. And I'm thinking, I think he's just druggy. I don't think he was really going to do anything. I think he just had his hand in his pocket. And next thing you know, he's walking and he's gone. He walked off the culvert deep into the ditch and disappeared.
Just disappeared.
He's like, boom, he's gone. Yeah. And I've just learned to pay attention to circumstances. And
and Addison said, "That's okay, Grandpa. I know my daddy's a police officer."
yeah. When I told her, I said, "I'm fixing to get my weapon. I don't let it scare you, honey. If it goes off, it's going to be okay." She said, "That's okay. My daddy's a police officer." But
children are amazing.
But you have taught us, whether it's in Seattle or wherever, whether we have a weapon with us or we're not able to. Your team at Extreme Agency, your whole team, your wife, you've really changed the culture of our church, the culture of our lives, and how we pay attention to things. And we got people coming to your class in February.
Yeah. We'll be honored to train.
Yeah, and listen, we don't know when we're doing this, but you've got classes going on monthly.
Every month we have renewals and we have regular classes every month.
And you can help with the paperwork on the renewals. You can help with that. Give me some advice real quick before we wrap up. There's an Illinois license, but there's also a Utah and a Florida. I carry all three, which opens up the number of states that I can carry my weapon in.
They were much more prevalent and much better before when Illinois first got their permits, because we mentioned earlier in an earlier episode that other states do recognize Illinois now. Right. So they were a lot better, I guess you could say, bang for their buck in the early years.
And they're less now.
Yeah, less now, but they're still a great tool. Florida gets you Florida. Everybody goes to Florida.
Yep.
If you want to,
I'm in Florida regularly.
And a lot of people don't understand that constitutional carry doesn't.
They change their rules for them, but it doesn't count for us.
You're exactly right. It applies to Florida residents, but not non-residents.
Not to us, right.
So
same for Utah.
Yeah, so for a non-resident, if you're going to be in Florida,
you need their permit.
You have to have their permit. With the two of them combined in Illinois, you're looking at about 37 states. There's some states you're never going to be allowed to carry.
And just because a state has a constitutional carry doesn't mean it applies to you if you're not a resident.
You're not a resident.
So you need to check those things out. Absolutely. And you can look up these, and we do that regularly. We look it up and see where.
There are that many states that you still can't.
Well, there's 37, so you figure there's 3 or 4 of them. I can name them that they're never going to let you carry. Like California, Colorado. Smoke all the dope you want, but
right.
It's crazy.
New Jersey, New York, those states are never going to let you.
Right.
South or North Carolina, South Carolina, I believe it is. If you own property in their state, you can, but if you don't own property, you can't. So, there's just some states that are that way. Pennsylvania is going to honor any permit at any level that state honors their state. Well, Illinois doesn't honor Pennsylvania other than in the car. So when you're in they're a Commonwealth. So when you're in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, they'll honor you while you're in your car, but that's as far as.
And they all have, when you look that stuff up, there's asterisks, and you got to go look and see what those things mean.
Exactly.
Limited things.
Yeah. And it makes a difference whether you're a resident in that state or a non-resident. Right. If you have a resident permit or a non-resident permit.
And there's good information. You just look it up, CCW, reciprocity.
Yeah.
Do that. You guys I can get my hair cut out there. I can come visit and hang out. We can get trained.
Coffee every day.
I was going to say, there's coffee pot
out there. Shooting range, family friendly, Christian business, great stuff. I'm gonna let him give some final remarks, but I want to show the 141 promo of your business more time.
I want to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
The barbershop part of it, I really do appreciate that, because when we were
I knew you were going to tell the story.
Well, we lived in Springfield. Our boys were getting old enough to have to go get haircuts.
And I wear a flat top. Very few people can cut a flat top.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
They were getting to where they wanted to go with Dad to get their haircut, not Mom to the beauty shop. Well, the only barbershop that we had at the time
was in Springfield.
There were Playboy magazines everywhere, and the barber,
filing cabinet full of them.
And the barber cussed like a sailor.
And I was a preacher.
And I mean, it was just
they didn't care.
Disgusting place. So He would clean it up.
He would see me pulling in, and you'd see him picking everything up, stuffing them back in the filing cabinet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they knew.
And he would mind himself the best he could while our kids were
But
in
other
there,
people would come in that didn't know me and would let out about 12 lines
Right. Yeah.
and start to head to the cabinet, and they're like, don't do it right now. The preacher's here. You know.
Yeah.
So
Well, we
I appreciate
and I think that our clients, for the most part, absolutely know that the F-bomb isn't permitted.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, and our kids were used to the world. They know. I mean,
but that doesn't make it right.
But
No.
it's nice to
You
go
know?
someplace where family values are there. And
Yes.
in this day and age with Christianity, we need to support as much Christian business and as much Christian-owned places as we can. And it's important to have a place.
And I do think that one of the greatest moves in Christianity in the next decade or so is going to have to come from our business leaders.
yes.
Yeah.
We're going to have to.
We're going to have to create our own economy,
Yes.
which is the Church of Acts did. Because in Acts, the Jews were not allowing business for Christians with them, and nor were the Romans. And so they developed their own commerce community. We are now in an age where we're being a lot of Christians are being debooked, debanked, de-this. We're going to have to create our own culture as well.
Well, and Christians aren't the only ones that are under attack right now. Men.
Yeah,
Men are bad.
Men in general
Actually, it's manlyhood.
Yes.
Manlyhood.
Yeah, manlyhood
Yes.
is under attack, and men. The Lord wants us for men to be men.
Yes.
He does.
He wants us to be men
Yes.
and don't apologize. And godly men.
Yes,
and godly men, we're not talking about rough housing. We're talking about godly men. Men are in control of themselves.
And men that that can mentor to younger men and younger men
respect
can
it
see that
and respect
and see that
those that are weaker,
Yes.
the elderly, and those as well.
yeah.
Check out this. Let me just show you this clip real quick. We'll come back and we'll sign off here in a second. So I'm going to come back after this, but check out this incredible video of what all they're doing out at Extreme Exigency and the home of the armed barbers.
Yeah, and our barber college.
And our barber college and your barber college.
Yes.
Yeah, check this out. Fantastic. Extreme Agency, 618-629-3422, Training Academy, Shooting Park, Barber College or Academy training, and get your hair cut and by the barbers there as well. Go check that out, extremeexigency.com. You can check them out. We'll have that in our show notes today. Just fantastic. Ray, thank you so much for giving us.
It's such a blessing to be here with you.
It has.
It's always wonderful to be with you and to share some fellowship.
I think this is going to be a good resource for people. And I hope others will see this show, share it out with other people, especially your kids and young people, and then get trained.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get trained, get the Predators playbook, get the beginning training, and down the road, maybe you're a part of your church security team or somewhere like that. Don't be a victim.
That's absolutely.
You don't be a victim. Yeah, be somebody that can live life to the fullest. We want you to get off the dock, out there into the deep, and do the things of God. And I really appreciate what you've done. It's changed our lives. It's probably protected us from more than you can think. And it also, like when different things have happened, even though there's scary moments, I've never felt like I'm not necessarily in control. It doesn't mean something bad can't happen.
And that's part of it is we do fight from victory. already.
Yeah.
That's right.
We are
And we
fighting
do it
for
with a
place of
biblical
victory.
cause. We're
Yes.
excited. I know our church team will be out there soon, and as soon as it warms up here, we're going to be out requalifying our guys and getting our guys kind of updated on
It's too
stuff.
cold right now.
Too cold right now, and we got people coming to take classes. They can come monthly, get in your classes.
Yes.
If they already have theirs and need the renewal,
Yeah,
they
we-
can
we-
see you.
We still train our veterans for free.
I like that.
So-
We have a veteran
That's
coming,
great.
and we have a
So,
veteran coming
yeah.
in this next class. I know with that, and we're excited. And I'm always reminded that my wife is my strongest security person because she was trained by you.
Yes, no doubt, no doubt. I've seen her shoot.
Yeah, she can shoot. She's very lethal.
Yeah.
She's very, very, very lethal. Go to onthedoc.org. I'm Pastor Troy here, and we want to have you come out and check out all the shows and stuff. Onthedoc.org. It's our website that gets you links and all that. You can find out more about this show and other shows and connect with Ray. If you got questions, email us at info@onthedoc.org, and we can get you information and details on that. Ray, it's, again, just a pleasure. They can go watch us on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. There's other shows that you can watch it on Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, SermonNet. And we'd love to hear your opinions. Go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, Getter, and let's have conversation and share these links out through those mediums so people can find it. Then hit subscribe, like, notify, tell other people about it. We'd love to hear your comments, and we'd always love to have you as a Patreon partner or sponsor. 4 levels of partnership, 3 levels of sponsorship. Go check that out. Go to Patreon, download the app, find on the dock, and you'll see it. And go to slnt.com, get you one of those Faraday bag products, protect your key fobs, your credit cards, your phones, and those things when you're traveling. And when you think suspicious things are around, you just want some privacy. You want to go be away and just put that away, and people won't take your stuff. Go to slnt.com/discount/OTD. Check that out. And we'd love to have you at church here at Community Faith Church. I'm the pastor here. We host this show here on the grounds. We love to have you at On the Dock. But if you don't have a church home, we're at Sundays at 10 o'clock, Wednesdays at 6:30. Ray goes to Cornerstone Church, also here in Marion, out by Sam's Club, out there in the old
Friday night, Saturday,
Friday night and Sunday.
Yep.
Go check them out too. Another God-fearing church. The key is to get in church, get your family in line with the Lord Jesus Christ, and then go out and live for Him.
Absolutely.
And excel for Him. We want you to do that. So we've enjoyed this entire show. We'll have more shows coming up for you. We have more taking it to the street spotlights. We've got some Building a Stronger Church series coming your way, and other special things coming up in season 3, and we're looking forward to it. As I wrap up here, Pastor Troy, along with Mother Beth. Thank you, Mother Beth. You've been great today.
Been great.
Got the pepper spray out.
Yeah,
And
I'm ready.
yeah, she's ready. Don't mess with Mother Beth. She'll
This has been a great show. I've really
she'll
enjoyed
pepper
it.
you. I think this is going to be helpful to a lot of people. Share this with other people.
Yeah.
As we go out, we're going to let you see a little bit more about our new partner, SLNT. You can learn a little bit more about their products and what you want for there. So as I sign off, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Check out this, and we'll see you soon. I'm Pastor Troy, Mother Beth, with Ray Minor and
Thank you
Cole
so much.
over there. Good to have you, and you've been on the dock. Now check out our product with SLNT. We'll see you soon.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases, but with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals to government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.